All right, everybody. So, what is Fluent AI? And we've talked about it from a high level. At its core, for us, it's a suite of AI powered features built right into FluentStream's ecosystem, designed to help businesses get more value out of every single phone call they make or receive. A great way to look at it is FluentStream's phone system provides all the pieces. Fluent AI helps put them together in a way that allows you to actually use the intelligence locked inside of all those conversations. So let's move forward and take a look at the features included, and then I figure we'll jump into a live demo and check them out in real time. So, a quick Fluent AI feature overview. What we have to offer is Fluent AI Call Intelligence. This is transcriptions for all call recordings, as well as a sentiment analysis specific to each call, analyzing individual portions of said call. There are high level call summaries that highlight key points from conversations that occurred throughout any of the calls that are recorded, as well as topic and keyword search, meaning that we can scan those transcripts and pinpoint key topics or words utilized during that conversation and even search it based on a keyword. And lastly, but never least, voicemail to email transcriptions that are also complete with a sentiment analysis. So all of that sounds great, but I think in order to fully embrace it, we need to see it. So let's take a look at what Fluent AI looks like in real time. Give me a second, folks. I'm just going to share my screen. Can I get a friendly confirmation we can see my share? All right.
That we can.
Beautiful. All right. So the Fluent AI feature acts as an extension to our call recording tools, as I said. And as a result, when calls are being recorded, they're essentially fed into the Fluent AI tool, allowing you to take advantage of the features associated once the call that has been recorded is analyzed. So let's take it from the top. When logging into the Fluent Phone portal, which is what I've got displayed on my screen here, in order to identify where calls that have been reviewed by Fluent AI live, you'll want to navigate to the call history section. And that is all the way to the right here. And I've selected that, and I'm currently looking at the call history. From here, you have some options. The first one I want to point out is columns. You can choose which selected options you want to view in this call history demonstration. You'll find that I've selected sentiment and topics, both Fluent AI features, to ensure that I have a bird's eye view of what insights Fluent AI has gleaned thus far without digging into the specifics. However, since details are Fluent AI's proverbial bread and butter, let's take a closer look at one of the calls and examine the specific data associated. So, in order to open what I like to call the Fluent AI Hub, we're going to go and find the closing sentiment, and we are going to click on that closing sentiment. And from the call history screen, I am then going to see the Fluent AI Hub pop up. So let's unpack this piece by piece. There's a lot going on here. At the top of the screen, you should see my mouse here. You're going to find a play button, as well as a color-coded timeline bar. By selecting the play button, you're going to be able to listen to the call in real time. And if you observe the color-coded bar here, you'll see that portions of the call are color-coded to exhibit the sentiment that that portion of the call exhibited. So blue is for positive, yellow is for neutral, and red represents a negative sentiment, respectively. So a good thing to understand and keep in mind is that our sentiment is not gauged by tone or volume, which honestly can be subjective and misunderstood, but rather the sentiment is gauged based on the actual content of the conversation, which ensures a much more accurate assessment of the nature of any given interaction. So there's a lot of great information at our disposal, and I'd like to start with the left-hand portion of the Fluent AI Hub and work our way inward. So right at the top, you're going to see a search bar. So you can search any given word or phrase that may have occurred in the conversation, and it will flag the times in which that wording was used throughout that chat. So I'm going to search the term auto attendant. And in doing so, it's going to highlight auto attendant and showcase the portion of the conversation in which that word was messaged. And it allows a quick and easy way to scrub a call for keywords or terms used in that conversation. So let's move on from the search bar. Below the search bar, you're going to see the speakers on the call right here being identified by the name of your internal representative. My colleague Mark Greeley was kind enough to help me manufacture some calls for this demo. So you see Mark's name right there, as well as a 10-digit third-party number. That's my direct line, folks, that the person is talking to. You can allow both to be selected, or you can unselect one just to view transcriptions from that side of the conversation. It's an interesting way to look at an interaction, I think, by whittling it down into which speaker said what. So continuing down the left side of the screen, we're going to see the sentiments that occur on the call. You'll see them listed here: positive, neutral, and negative. So they are listed out and quantified by how many times that particular sentiment occurred throughout the call. All three of them are currently selected, so I'm viewing the entirety of the call, but you can deselect some of them to narrow down the portions of the call that are focused or include a particular sentiment. Now I'm curious to see what the negative sentiment entails, so I'm deselecting neutral and positive, and it is only focusing on the negative sentiment or portion of the call that was flagged. I think that this is a great tool in helping narrow down what went well as helping to identify things like pain points or opportunities for improvement in those customer conversations. This is huge for those looking to better understand and improve their customer experience, which honestly has been a big focus for a lot of the clients that I've spoken to throughout the last few years. Now, I'm going to reselect these so the entire conversation is available, and I'd like to move on to the center portion of the screen. We're going to find that at the top of the screen here, we have the transcription summary of the call. This is an example of AI scraping the call and creating a summary of what the context of the conversation looks like without having to review the call in real time, either by listening or just reading the transcript, which can be very time-consuming exercise for QA analysts. I've been in call center environments where QA analysts will shut themselves in a breakout room and stay there for 8 hours listening to calls. And I like to think that this tool expedites that experience and allows us to gain a better edge on things and get more done in less time, which is fantastic. Below the summary, you're going to find the full transcription of the call. Now, so long as both speakers are selected here on the left, you are going to have all three sentiments. As long as both speakers are selected and all three sentiments are selected, you are going to see each verbal exchange transcribed from the start to the end of that call in its entirety. I also would like to quickly revisit the top of the screen for this option here that says topics. If we select that option, we're going to find some key phrases that were used during the call that were flagged based on repetition. Now, one thing that I think is very cool is you have the opportunity to grow the topics configuration for your account and have it start to identify phrases that are specific to your business or your industry. So, for example, if you're a cardiologist, you could add something like pacemaker or echocardiogram to that list, and it will flag conversations that have that terminology used throughout the transcripts you're recording. This allows you to quickly determine which calls included mention of specific topics, helping you narrow down niche details in customer conversations so you can find information more quickly and work towards refining the way you communicate and improve how your team interacts with your clientele. Now, lastly, at the bottom, there's an option to download the transcript itself for your records or to potentially feed that data into another AI system designed to help identify trends once you've allocated several different transcripts across an extended period of time. Very cool stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and end my screen share. So we're going to jump back into the slideshow and take a look at our voicemail transcription and sentiment analysis. Let's see here. Okay. There we go. All right. I was just waiting for that screen to pop back up. Beautiful. So what we have here is a transcribed voicemail. Now, the details have been blurred out to protect the innocent, and honestly, it's exactly what you would expect. The text of the voicemail appears in an email that is delivered to you directly, and there's a sentiment analysis score assigned to each transcription right below the text. The sentiment analysis, as it pertains to voicemail transcription, is determined by a numeric scale, also depicted in the second screenshot, that is configured when you set up the sentiment analysis tool so that you can better gauge what is positive versus negative sentiment on any voicemail received prior to listening. Now, much like our sentiment analysis tool in FluentAI's call recording feature, the sentiment is measured on the context of the words spoken rather than the volume or tone, because those can be subjective, misleading, or misidentified.